It's the reverse fixture between the Punjab Kings and the Royal Challengers Bangalore. You must wonder, is it an old video? Because less than 48 hours, these two teams met each other in a rain affected game. No, it's not. And that's the way the IPL scheduling has been this time around. Few fans are saying there has been a mini tri series going on between Mumbai, Chennai, and Sunrise Hyderabad as well. And Ritvik, all the way from Dubai, how much are you enjoying the IPL? Because now, today, we're into halfway stage of the tournament in terms of matches.
Well, absolutely. We are at the middle of this very, very exciting franchise tournament that we have. It's taken the world by storm over the last 18 years. And it's been a mixed bag of a season so far. We've seen teams who have traditionally performed well again stutter
Correct.
in their endeavor to try and get up the ladder. We've seen teams who've done fairly well in the auction, in the big auction, coming to the party then, getting their players, getting their best foot forward, and
Yeah.
putting up a decent score, a decent performances. We've also had teams who started off well within those, like a DC, like a GT. Then
True.
they've had a few poor performances, and they've come back again. So all in all, it's been very, very exciting. There have been disappointments galore for sure. The likes of Mumbai, the likes of CSK, the likes of SRH, who were expected to light up this IPL based on
Mhm.
their form from last year
Correct.
and their form that they showed in the first game this year. People thought that they're going to go hammer and tongs, 300 will be crossed, and so on and so forth. And none of that has happened. So fair enough, fair call to the teams that they're playing against as well. Obviously, along with changes in squads come the changes of mindset, the changes of strategies, and so on. And some teams then end up faring better than others.
Correct, absolutely. That is true, and that's the beauty of the IPL. You said about a couple of teams, Sunrisers, Chennai, Mumbai. You can also add the fact that uh, the likes of Kolkata Knight Riders too out here. Because the last time we'll come to this as the show progresses, but I want to know about you because you, me, both are Bengalis at the end of the day. But the last time we had a game at Mulanpur, it was the low scoring thriller, lowest score ever defended in the IPL history. Did you ever think that Kolkata against spin will falter the way they did in the previous game?
Well, I was very, very disappointed in their approach in that game. Very rarely do you have a bowler, especially in a T20 format, especially at the IPL, who's on song from ball one.
Correct.
Chahal was that day. So when you have somebody like Chahal, who's an experienced campaigner, highest wicket taker in IPL history, coming on and suddenly starting off on a dream spell, surely as KKR batsman, you need to understand that, play out his 4 overs safely,
Exactly. Yeah.
and go after the others. The runs were hardly anything. 111 is nothing as a score. But
And I
I
was
believe,
speaking to many of the KKR fans, and at one stage, if I'm not mistaken, 72 for two, from the 78 for eight, six
correct.
runs, eight, six
That's what
wickets.
I'm
That's
saying.
not
They just went after Chahal as if it was an ego trip they were on. I'm sorry to say, but that's exactly what it looked like. Oh, we
you
have
talk
to take
about the
him
two
down.
dismisses of Rinku Singh and Ramandeep.
Absolutely. Especially Rinku Singh. See, at the end of the day, let's not take anything away from Chahal.
No, no, that is true.
Experienced
That yeah,
campaigner came in, played with the minds of the batsmen, got them out. My
100%.
point is, where was the application from the KKR batsman in that scenario, knowing that he's got only 4 overs? Play those four out safely, pick up ones, twos at the occasional boundary, and then score off the rest of the 16 overs. Instead, we ended up getting bowled out the way we did.
Absolutely, that's what the fact is, and you can somehow say that yes, Russell scored a few runs in his last over, but that's hit and miss. I was not confident when Russell was there at the crease with 8 or 9 wickets down KKR that I told my father as well. He's not going to take your side over the line. It happened once at Chinnaswamy. It's not going to happen always. But Andrew Russell, because he is not, and that's the reason why I said there's a difference between a Mahendra Singh Dhoni and these players. These players want to finish off the game as quickly as possible. While MSD, if he would have been there, he would definitely take it to the last over of the match. I know you agree with this as well.
No,
But
absolutely. And Russell has always been a hit and miss, right? There are a few games that he'll come through that
correct.
will look awesome on his stats and so on. More often than not, he will misfire. Even the ball that he got out on,
Yeah,
way outside of bouncer,
correct.
way outside of, he dragged it down. Why? Because he thought There's 17 runs needed. Even if there are 2 overs, I need to finish it in this over itself,
Correct.
right? And there comes your downfall.
Correct. And these he should have thought that it's the last wicket. If I get out, that's game over. I don't know what their thinking is, but yes, that's the
Yeah.
fact it is. Let's take a look into the numbers between RCB and PBKS in terms of head-to-head. We rarely do say that Chinnaswamy will produce a low scoring game, but it was a rain affected one, which ended up being 95 only on the board. And in Bengali, we said, or in English, we can say scratchy knock from the rest of the batters. And somehow it was just Tim David who was the lone warrior with an half century, got them over the line. Otherwise, the 49, the infamous 49 all out was also on the cards.
So the infamous 49 was on the cards. The 84 against Punjab, which was their lowest previous score, that was also on the cards. And I felt that RCB batted exactly with the same mindset as how Kolkata did, albeit in different conditions. The reason I'm saying this is when you're in a rain curtailed match, then you need to very simply apply yourself accordingly. Yes, it's 14 overs,
Correct.
but that does not mean you need to go hammer and tongs ball one. You still need to play yourself in, still need to play those 14 overs and try and put up a sizable score on the board. Only
Correct.
Tim David came in and those few lusty blows in the end saved them from some blushes, but obviously 95 wasn't enough.
Yeah. Exactly, that was not enough. But yes, RCB's bowling has been always this season, especially, has been their brightest thing. But I want to ask you a few things about the squad because they have Rajat Patidar has been really good captain so far around. Their away record has been fabulous, 100% compared to the home record, which has been zero. But your thoughts on one player? I think now they need to think about it. Liam Livingston, can they think about a replacement? Is Jacob Bethel on the cards? I'm really fond of somebody like a Romario Shepherd. Probably he can be there on the side. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Liam Livingston has already been given way too many chances for my liking. I have seen him perform for England earlier or not perform adequately for England earlier, also in the 100. He's also for me, an Andre Russell mode of player where he will come in, he will get lucky, or he will have that one day when he'll go and score a 50 or 20 deliveries. Fine. But what you need, especially in a format like the IPL, where you have 14 matches, 7 away, 7 home,
Correct.
you need to have consistency. And if you don't have consistency from your key players, then that will harm you. So yeah, Bethel to me is a fantastic find from England. I watched a few games last season where he played in the NatWest Trophy and in the UK,
And also in the 100,
and
yeah.
yeah, and in the 100 as well. And he's been phenomenal. I mean, he comes in with that attitude of a very street smart cricketer. Does not try to overthink, overdo stuff. Plays the game as per situation. Plays the ball as per merit. And yeah, I the way Livingston has performed so far or misfired so far, definitely worth giving Bethel a shot.
Absolutely. So you're saying Jacob Bethel that can give you an extra left-hander in the middle overs as well. He bowls as well. Fantastic fielder too. Jacob Bethel could be a thought because yes, I agree with you. Liam Livingston has got more than opportunity. I'm not sure whether the change is going to be made today as well or not because RCB Punjab both are playing back-to-back games. I doubt that they will have any practice session in between because they're traveling together. What about the pitch conditions of Mulanpur? Let's take a look into this season. So Ritwik 200 has been breached a couple of times in Mulanpur this season, which shows that it's a wonderful surface to bat on. First day game of the season, while we can keep the previous game as an exception, 111 scored. But your thoughts on that? What would you do in this heat? Would you be tempted to bat first? But you need to bat better than what Delhi Capitals did yesterday.
True, but given the heat, given the dimensions of the ground, I would definitely, if I were to win the toss, I would prefer my captain going and batting first. Go
Okay.
put runs on the board. Uh, we've seen in the day games, the few day games that have happened, the pitch is nice and hard. The ball comes on well to the bat, right? The outfield is brilliant. So Mulanpur is that sort of a ground. So if you can go and you can score big, you said 200 has been reached. 200 being reached seems to be a huge thing or discussion topic on social these days. I'm not too sure why, because
Correct.
200 on an average is not that great a score. And if you are Punjab, for example, and you're batting first, and you put up 200 or 210, 220, whatever, RCB definitely have the batting power to chase it down. So you need
Yeah.
to look in excess of a good 230, 240, in my opinion, whoever's batting first, and then
Yeah. True that.
put the second team under pressure, and try and then again, of course, try and pick some early wickets in the second innings in the power play to try and get the game away from them.
Absolutely, because nowadays 200 is chaseable. 220 is becoming the new norm of a power score kind of a thing, as we rightly say. But as I have you, it's a privilege to ask you a couple of questions off the game, to be honest. Not the cricket game, but of this Punjab versus RCB. We have witnessed, and I'm sure you, while doing commentary on it, you have witnessed so many incidents happening in during the games. The new couple of things that have been introduced. One has been for a long time, which has been bowlers after completing the spell have not been allowed to leave off the field. We saw Ishant Sharma struggling against the scorching heat yesterday. Then Ashish Nehra forced to have an impact sub because he was genuinely struggling, but he just completed his quota. Similarly, on the other hand, your thoughts on the umpires checking the bat width?
It's a good call, and it's not the first time that they've done it. They've done it in the past. It's been done behind closed doors over the past 2.5, 3 years in the dressing rooms. And given the fact that this game nowadays is way too skewed towards the batsman,
Correct.
I think it's a
Is it
very,
especially the white ball?
especially the white ball. So it's a very fair call. I mean, you want to make sure that the width, the the width of the side, the edge, the width of the edge, the
The
actual width of the
thickness,
bat
yeah.
itself, and the
Correct.
thickness in the middle, they have a certain criteria that needs to be fulfilled. Simple as that. It's a rule. This is the
Correct.
maximum you can go. Now, in the past, when they've checked it in dressing rooms, whether intentionally or otherwise, there are chances that the bat that's being checked inside versus the bat that the
And a
batsman
different
comes
bat has
out
come
with
on. Correct.
is a different bat. It could be they have five, six bats. I'm not saying anybody's trying to be dishonest here, but you have five, six bats. You've got a couple of them checked. You walk out with a bat that feels right at that moment when you're going out to bat. What if that's not the same one and if it's slightly different? So it's a very, very fair call. I think it balances out a little bit in terms of the equation with the bowlers. The batsmen these days are phenomenal in terms of power hitting. So
Correct.
even if it gives a little bit of a balance, I think it makes sense because there are other rules which are completely against the bowler. I mean, for example, this two bouncer rule in an
Yeah.
over. I find it ridiculous. I've always found it ridiculous. You do not
Okay.
you do not impose on a batsman how many fours or sixes he can hit in an over, can you?
Do understandable, but if it's not as this, you're
If
saying above the head is a wide for sure. You're
fair
saying
enough,
above
so
the
call it a
shoulders.
wide. I'm not saying don't call it a wide. Call it a wide if it's more than going way above your head. All that is fine. Why restrict it to the two? If the batsman is competent enough to play the short ball, so be it. Let him take it on. My point is, give the bowler a fair chance to take on the batsman, just as you're like letting the batsman take on the bowlers. Because otherwise, this game over time will become very, very skewed towards the batsman only, and that's not going to be good viewing for any of
Similarly,
us.
this agreed, but similarly, this new rule about rather than new rule, but someday or the other is bound to happen. You said previous time we spoke about we had a discussion about the Lasit Malinga's slower ball in the IPL final, which got rid of Shardul Thakur. 2 runs required, one ball. What if someday or the other the umpire gives it an out? It turns out to be a not out. The batters have taken a leg by single, but it ends up being a dead ball. What's your thought on the rule as well? Don't you think that should be changed as well?
Well, I think the simple aspect to keep in mind, and I will go back to another game in a second. The simple fact to keep in mind is the umpires need to be absolutely sure
Correct.
of the rules of the game when they're officiating. That's the bare minimum. If the ball has hit the batsman on the pads, you cannot go and signal leg buys before, for example, before the captain has had a chance to go up for a DRS. It just
Correct.
doesn't
Correct.
make sense,
Correct.
right? If you remember the 2019 World Cup, the ODI World Cup,
Mhm.
where an extra run was added to England's total because it
Yeah.
ricocheted off Ben Stokes'
Ben
bat,
Stokes, but yeah.
right? It should have been 5 runs, not 6 in total. That ended up changing the entire complexion of the game, went to a super over, which wouldn't have
Yeah.
happened otherwise, and
Correct.
ended up costing a nation a cricket World Cup, an ICC trophy. Why? Because the umpire at that point, Kumar Dharmasena, got that wrong.
Yeah.
Now, these are aspects which can be controlled. These are not uncontrollable aspects. So if you can control these sort of errors, I think the game is better for it.
True that, 100%. And that's the reason why I was asking you these questions, and these needs to be looked into a lot. But yes, in terms of the gauge rule, which the on-field umpires, the fourth umpire, are taking at the moment, we agree with that, and I think this should continue as long as it's stopped permanently. But let's take a look into the players to watch out for this afternoon game between Punjab and RCB. It's a day game, and we know how Phil Salt bats in day games as well. Phil Salt, Virat Kohli, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar are for the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Shreyas Iyer, Mark Johnson, and Yadavindra Chahal are for the Punjab Kings. Any other different name from you?
For me, Punjab Kings, I would love to have one of the top orders, the openers, in the mix for our players to watch out for. They've just been exciting. They've come in, they played a new brand of cricket. We were talking about this on air yesterday when we saw Vaibhav Suryavanshi
Weber.
come in at 14 and hit the first ball for 6, and then the second ball he faced for 6 as well. These players nowadays come out and play with absolute fearless brand of cricket, right? It's a very simple rule of see ball, hit ball, time it. They have the backing, most importantly, of the team management. They have the backing of the captains, and they go out to express themselves in ways players 3, 4 years back wouldn't have imagined. So for me, Priyansh is a very, very interesting player to look out for. On RCB side, I agree with the three that you've chosen. I think Phil Salt's been phenomenal. Kohli, we know exactly how good he is, and he's been so for years and years, not just in franchise cricket, but in international cricket. I mean, he's a legend in his own right, as we know. And in terms of bowling, yes, I mean, Bhuvi has delivered more often than not. And I'm so happy to see him come and bowl at the top of the order.
Correct.
He's bowling when the ball is hard. He's bowling when the pitch is good and firm. He's getting the ball to do that occasional swing in the air, to get that occasional swing in the air. It's like the old Bhuvi is back. And he's a treat to watch when he's on song. He might not
And
necessarily
he
always
has
get
got rid
wickets.
of Shreyas Iyer quite a few times in the IPL.
Correct. And it's not that even in this edition he's getting too many wickets. No. But he's keeping it really tight. And that then makes the batsman go for that extra shot, that extra risk against other bowlers, and you end up losing your wicket. So
True
great,
that.
great to see him in action for sure.
Absolutely, and it was great to see somebody like Yuzvendra Chahal perform the way he did against RCB at Chinnaswamy. But shocking on the other hand that Glenn Maxwell was dropped. We'll come to that during the playing 11 section. But battles to watch out for. Let's take a look into my pictures. Three of them have
I,
gone for Virat Kohli versus Chahal is my one. Shreyas Iyer versus Bhuvi is my second. And I've gone with Suya Sharma versus Nihal Vadera as the third. I think that was the turning point in the previous game. RC was slowly trying to get back into the game after defending it. Suya Sharma was bowling fabulously, but his last over was completely spoiled by Nihal Vadera.
yeah, absolutely. And I think these are three great choices in terms of head to head to look out for. For me, the key one here, the one I'm most excited about, is to watch Virat Kohli against Chahal. They've been
Yeah,
great
true that.
friends. They've been in the same franchise for years. They're great friends. You see the camaraderie when they're on the pitch together, even if they're against opposing teams. And we know how well Virat plays spin. He plays pace brilliantly, but he plays spin equally well. And Chahal's coming on the back of a phenomenal 2 games. So it'll be good to see that battle for sure. I mean, the other
I,
battles that
I
you
I agree
mentioned,
with the fact that Harpreet Brar was picked in the previous game. Can we see a little bit because Virat is weak against left arm off spin? Can we see Virat versus Harpreet Brar if Virat stays after the power play?
I think if Virat stays after the power play, by then he's pretty much set. So whichever bowler is coming on, it's the onus is on the bowler. The pressure is on the bowler because one thing, Preetham, you have to remember is more often than not when bowlers of any caliber, when they are bowling to a particular batsman, the likes of Virat Kohli,
Hmm?
they are not just bowling to the batsman; they are bowling to that
Correct.
reputation of that person as well,
Correct.
and that for a younger player can take a huge toll.
Yeah, true that absolutely, and that's very important. We'll see Virat after he gets set. We all know that a big score is on the cards. Can he bat the way he does? That's going to be interesting to see. But before we move on to the predicted playing 11 section, over to you, Ritvik. It's time for the strategic timeout section. 60 seconds, 3 questions will be given to you, and here starts your questions. We can see it in the screen as well, and here it is. Question number one: Virat Kohli or Shreyas Iyer? Which Indian star do you think will score more runs today?
I would like to go for Virat Kohli. I wanted to get
Okay.
those 58 extra runs and get to 1,000 runs against Punjab.
Okay, and next one is Phil Salt or Nihal Vadera. Who do you think will hit more sixes today?
Salt.
Phil Salt. Okay. And the last one is who do you think will be your player of the match today?
Oh, this is tricky. This is tricky. Now, based on
You have
how
time.
Kohli, well, based on how Kohli goes, I'll explain my concept very simply. Based on how Kohli goes, I would back Kohli to win it, especially the way Bangalore has been playing away from home. If at all, then maybe one of the bowlers from Punjab side, if they turn on a good game. But for me, my first bet would be Kohli. I just feel he's getting back into that groove.
Okay, Virat Kohli. There's no other name anyone says that. The fantasy picks, if you're thinking about anyone to make your captain, he says man of the match. So Virat Kohli surely is going to score some runs on the board. There could be a fantasy pick as well. Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the predicted playing 11, starting with the Punjab Kings. A forced change, but I think that Maxwell's bowling might come into the party. So I'm going for Maxwell instead of Marcus Stoinis, the only change. Do you agree? Or are you sticking to the Australian all-rounder versus Marcus
I would
Stoinis?
stick to the all rounder. I would stick to the Hulk, which is Stoinis, because yes, he hasn't bowled much. I think he's bowled only the one over in this edition so far.
Correct.
But he can turn his arm around when needed. And based on the current form and hitting ability, I would I would personally pick Stoinis over Maxwell.
Okay, so you're going for Stoinis, continuing with the same 11 that played in the previous game. Harpreet Brat can be your impact player if required. Fair enough. Let's take a look at the predicted playing 11 of RCB. Going with the same team because their away wins have been great and they are playing really good away from home. But the question is simple, and that's what I'm asking as well. Can we see Romario Shepherd or Jacob Battle today? Only spot is Liam Livingston.
Yeah, for me, in that squad, the predicted squad that you showed, the team that you showed, sorry, I think for me, Bethel is the only one which would be the change instead of Livingston. Romario Shepherd, maybe, but no, I would prefer Bethel. I would prefer Bethel for the simple reason that given the sort of conditions that they'll be playing in, I
Correct.
feel he'll probably suit that better. So,
Okay.
yeah, that would be probably my only change as well.
So only change Jacob Bethel in place of Liam Livingston, according to you, the only change today. Fair enough. You will be put into hot seat. Now it's time for predictions. Predictions time, match number 37. It's the reverse fixture between the Kings and the Royals. What's your prediction for this game?
Well, to go with the current form, RCB have a 4-0 record away playing
Okay.
away this season.
Yeah.
So I would actually back them to continue that form.
Okay.
Though I feel Punjab's going to come at them really, really hard. It might be a very
True.
close game, but I feel RCB might just push it. And that's my concern with RCB this year. The fact that they're playing phenomenally outside and
Correct.
just can't seem to get their act together when they're back home. And the Chinnaswamy curse, as they say in social, has been following them around way too much. It's time to
Wait.
make a change on
Correct.
that.
So you're saying, can I get a percentage? 50 to 48?
I think, yeah, it's going to be close. I think it's a 55-45 sort of a thing for RCB. It's going to be close.
Okay.
I don't think
Expecting
it's
a
going to
close
be.
game.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting a close game. Both teams very evenly balanced. Both teams have played really, really good cricket so far in this edition. RCB away, Punjab hit and miss in terms of home and away. So yeah, could be.
Fair enough. So fans from Punjab say the nice one. Team batting second will win in the day game. Fair enough. Thank you, Lord, so much, Ritvi. Thank you to all the viewers as well. He says 55-45 for the visitors because they are in a phenomenal form away from home. Well, Punjab are coming from back-to-back wins in the IPL as well. We'll see that. Don't forget to subscribe to Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. We will be back for the evening game clash in a few minutes' time as well. Sit back.
Thank you.